All right, welcome to the first part in my mini-series of me learning how to ride a motorcycle. Now, I recorded this video originally with audio, but the audio was just terrible. Cars were going by, and there's helicopters going by and stuff, so just gonna do a quick voiceover for a smoother sound. But to give some background, I've been riding, four-wheelers, mini bikes and stuff all my life, but I have not done it in a few years, so I decided when I was back in college to get my motorcycle license. Now, you can just go get your permit and then do the test with the DMV. Perfectly fine, especially if you have more experience than I did. But what I did was I got my permit, then I signed up for the MSF course. Now, if you're looking to get a motorcycle or get your license, I'm sure you heard that name a lot. It's because they are amazing. Now, personally, as someone who lives in PA, my course was just 2 days. No in-classroom training. There's just a little online training beforehand, and then there's a 2-day course where we learned 14 different skills and fundamentals. They provided the bikes for you, and it was completely free. It was only a few hours long, from like 7 a.m. to 1 p.m., which seems long, but when you're on the bikes having fun, it definitely goes by pretty quickly. And they provide the test for you. So I went in, passed my test on the second day flawlessly, even though I definitely had some hiccups with my gear shifting, but that's to each their own on depending on what type of bike you have. But a few weeks after the course, I ended up picking a Honda CBR 250R. It's a 2012 model. I got it off of Facebook Marketplace for a pretty good deal and drove it home. But I am not that great of a driver yet. I do know how to ride around, shift gears and stuff, but there's still some skills I need to practice, and that's exactly what I'm going to do this video. You can see that I'm going from, the little intro to getting on the bike now and starting it up. All right, I figured I would cut the video to here and just show quickly how I turn on the bike because I didn't record it originally. All right, so here is the bike. Again, I named it Amber. Here's the key. So, important thing to note about keys on motorcycles is that they have multiple different abilities. See here, it has a little lock, and that will just lock the wheel. And I always have it in lock position, that way no one can steal it. But you just press the key in, flip it over, and now it's on the off section. And then one more turn, and it's on. You can see it turns on. It's in neutral right now. I have the engine stop on, so I just got to turn that off. Kind of hear the bike there turn on. I like to do a push in the clutch, then and the bike is on. It's amazing. Always give it like a little bit of a minute to warm up, get ready. Got the headlights here, turn on, turn signal as well. It's kind of, and to turn it off, you just hit the engine cutoff switch, or you can just turn it off from here. I would do engine cutoff. Yeah, and then once you're done, still on off, go to off, push it in, go to lock, and now the wheel is locked. Figured I'd give just a quick little demonstration, especially my new motorcycle jacket. But as you can see here, I'm already starting to go into a turn. But I will admit, this is not my first time going around my house like this. Now, if you're wondering why I'm going around my house, it's because I live on a main road, and I'm definitely not confident with getting up to speed or pulling out of my driveway that quickly if other cars coming. So until then, I'm just kind of going around my house. I'm trying to cut the clips together so they look a bit smoother, but in full retrospect, I recorded each thing individually. I don't have 3 cameras around my house to record this yet, sadly, and I don't have a camera mount for my motorcycle just yet. But the first lap around my house was literally just me in the friction zone, going around with my, kind of paddling with my feet, getting used to the weight of it and everything, because this bike is completely different than what I trained on. Throw the image up, but I trained on a Suzuki. I think it was like a 250, but it's a bobber style, way different from a sports bike. But in these runs, I'm just kind of going around my house, just in a circle, getting used to turns. I'm great with just riding in general and balancing. Unfortunately, I can't really get up to speed here. I think at most I was getting up to gear 2, nowhere near like gear 3 or 4. But it's what I got to deal with, just kind of going around in loops. Although even in this session alone, I'm just kind of learning what my issues are and what skills I desperately need to work on when it comes to riding. Because, like I said, I grew up riding four-wheelers and dirt bikes, but those were up in the woods, going down trails, not having to worry about other cars. The most I had to worry about was like a bear or another person on a four-wheeler or another person on a dirt bike. That's all I had to worry about. But when you're on a motorcycle, you have to worry about other drivers on the road, what they're going to do, because again, you're in a smaller vehicle that's on 2 wheels. Even if they see you, they might not see you. That's a big thing people talk about, is that, if you're at an intersection, that's the most dangerous thing, because people might turn out of nowhere, they might run a red light, and you're just on this little bike that, does not have any protection like a car does. So as fun as it is to ride, that's definitely something I'm trying to keep in mind as I go. That's why I'm not even jumping on the main road just yet. I'm just going around my yard, again, getting used to the weight of the bike, the feel of the bike, how much throttle I need to give, the stopping power, all that stuff, and the gear shifter on this. Like I mentioned, the bike that I trained on for the MSF course, the gear shifter was just a little janky, and this one's a bit more smoother, and just trying to find my rhythm as a rider. But actually, after this, about like a few days later, my dad and I went to a neighborhood nearby where I got to practice a bit more, get more used to the bike. And there's one big thing I think I need to work on. It's not really getting up to speed, shifting gears. It's definitely not going in turns and lean or pushing left, lean left to go left, that type of stuff. It's simply starting and stopping at a turn. I definitely noticed that for me as a rider, I have a big issue with like going to a stop sign or like a stoplight, hypothetically, where I can kind of get there and I maybe have to make a left out of there and cross an intersection and make a right, that I'm really not that good at it, and that's probably the biggest thing I need to work on. But if there's one thing that's true about not only the gym, because I am a gym channel mainly, but also riding a motorcycle or a bicycle or doing anything, is that practice makes perfect. I mean, you can be a bit more innately better at something when you first start it, but the more you practice and the more you're on the bike, going around, shifting up in gears, getting up to speed, practicing your different skills like turns, U-turns, all that different stuff, you're going to get better at it. You're going to get smoother at it. I mean, I think back to when I first started to learn how to ride a car. It was very similar to that, learning how to stop properly, putting it into drive. Now, thankfully, I didn't drive anything with a clutch, but it's just the more practice you get, the more time on the road you get, the better you're going to get at it. And something I was doing during this practice and during my practice and when I was going around a neighborhood was just kind of speaking to myself out loud, saying left turn, look to where to go, do this stuff, and to the point where it was just drilled into my head. But that's about it for this practice. I think we're going to cut it here. This is definitely a fun ride, a bit slower going around my house. That's what I was kind of annoyed about, was I couldn't really get up to speed, because I do operate better when you're going faster. It's easier to make turns when you're going faster. All the different stuff they teach you in that MSF course. So my plan now is to get a phone rig or something where I can record myself driving, and then over the course of the next few weeks, post vids of me just going around, especially on my Instagram, which you can follow me at Lat Bradley on Instagram, and my TikTok, also at Lat Bradley, just to see my progress with it as I become a better rider.
Enjoy.